Let's imagine you are working as a data scientist at Netflix and where they have millions of users all over the world. Now, as a data scientist, your goal is to, let's say, reduce the churn rate for Netflix, or the company gives you a task to find out what kind of content most people like. So, how do you find these answers? Well, the main thing to find these answers is probability and statistics, and this is the heart of data science. Hi everyone, I'm Fanik, and I welcome you all to this brand new series of probability and statistics for data science beginners. In this series, I'll be covering each and every topic regarding statistics and probability for data science, and I'll be breaking complex topics into easier ones by using some really good examples. And by the end of the series, I can guarantee you one thing that you will not just understand the maths, but also the data driven decision making ability, which is very much needed in data science. So before going into the lecture, I'll just tell you what kind of topics we'll be covering in this specific video. And later on, we'll be continuing with the playlist in the later videos. So for this one, I'll be mainly covering four different topics. The first is what is stats, just the very basic definition of stats to give you an overview of what we will be dealing with in this series. The second is difference between descriptive and inferential statistics. So stats has mainly two different types. One is different descriptive, and the other one is inferential. And the third is the main thing that you need to know before starting this series um, is it like is this series useful for you? Like, is this series beneficial for you? And the last point is what topics we will cover in this series. So, as I discussed that this is going to be a long series probably. So I'll just give you some of the topics that we'll be covering in the later videos. But for now, I'll just list down a few and try to, just give you a very basic idea of this playlist. So now let's talk about the first thing, that is what is basically stats in terms of definition and an example, right? So let's say what is statistics, right? So if I talk about the definition of stats, so statistics is the branch of mathematics that deals with collecting, organizing, and interpreting data and interpreting data, which makes conclusions or draw results, right? So I'll give you one example. Let's say we have study hours for 100 students, right? And those study hours are like 7, 1, 4, 3, 8, 12, 10, and so on, right? Now, let's say you just try to, summarize this data. So summarize the data. Let's say you try to find the mean. So, for example, the mean turns out to be 8 hours per day, right? And organizing the data can be like now the mean was 8 hours, right? Now let's say you analyze the data and you see that most students study between 6 to 8 hours. How do you analyze this data? By making a visualization. So you make a visualization. In this case, it can be a histogram, right? Because this is a continuous variable, so you can go with histogram in this scenario. And let's say you make an interpretation. You make an interpretation for this data. And that interpretation is, let's say, that anybody who studies more than 4 hours pass the exam, right? So these kind of interpretations can be made from the data. Now, stats has basically two types. The first is descriptive, and the second one is inferential. And the next thing that we talk about is descriptive stats. And now let's talk about descriptive statistics. So as you can see in the definition, descriptive stats are methods that are used to summarize the main features of a data set. They help you understand what the data looks like without making any predictions. So it's just kind of, you are summarizing and kind of making sense of the data, how the distributions are. And in descriptive statistics, the first thing that you learn is measures of central tendency, which basically include mean, median, and mode. The second thing that you learn here is measures of dispersion, which include topics like variance, standard deviation, right? You have range, you have IQR, and so on, right? Like quantiles, percentiles, Q3, Q1, all of those things lie in measures of dispersion. And the last thing that here that is in descriptive statistics is visualizations. Visualizations, or you can say distributions, right? Which include, let's say, scatter plot, box plot, histogram, bar chart, uh, pie chart, violin plot. So all of these different kind of visualizations or distributions are also a part of descriptive statistics. And now we'll talk about inferential statistics. That is the second type of statistics that we are going to cover. Now, let's see the definition of inferential statistics. It says that it is a method used to make conclusions about a larger data set using a subset or a sample of that population using the same data set. And you try to infer something about the data. So I'll take one example. Let's say your goal is to um, find the average marks in your college, right? And let's say you have 5,000 students in your college, right? Now let's say that you have 5,000 students in your college, and let's be honest, practically it's nearly impossible that you go to each and every 5,000 students and ask them about their marks and then try to average them. So what you do is so your population is, in this case, population will be whole college, right? That is 5,000 students. And what you do is you take samples. So samples is a subset of this population. So it's a subset of this population. So let's say instead of going to each and every student in your college, you just you say that, okay, I'll try to pick 20, or let's say not 20, let's say 10 or 15, 10 students from each class. And then when I um, get the marks from each class, and each class has 10 students, then I'll try to kind of predict using this sample. I'll try to predict the average score for this population. So let's say there are 20 classes overall in your college, right? So you go to the first class, you know get the mean. Similarly, you go to the second class, you get the mean. Similarly, you go to the third one, you get the mean. You keep on doing until all the classes are done, and then You calculate these 20 means. So, right, you get the mean, get the mean, get the mean, and then you have 20 values, right? And then you try to find the mean of these 20 values, and then you infer that, okay, this might be the mean of the population, right? So this is what you do in inferential statistics. And if I talk about some different topics that you study in inferential statistics, those are the first one is hypothesis testing, right? The second is confidence intervals. The third is regression analysis, right? In hypothesis testing, you study z-test, right? You study t-test. Similarly, there's ANOVA, that is analysis of variance. You have chi-square, right? So all of these things come under inferential statistics. And moving on in this series, we'll cover each and everything in detail, so you don't have to worry about these topics. I'll be teaching everything in this playlist. And now I'll be just talking about the last topic, which is not regarding stats, but it's just about who should watch this playlist. Like, who can benefit from this series, or who should, just go through these videos. So, for example, if you are an aspiring data scientist or a data analyst or even a business analyst, right, you should watch this playlist. Similarly, if you are just someone who is brushing up your fundamentals on statistics, or you're a college going student who has some kind of problems in their statistics subject, they can even also watch this playlist. So it is going to be very helpful for each and everyone who wants to learn statistics and probability. And I hope you like this video, and see you soon in the next one. Take care. Bye.